We are back to the D2 podcast where we talk about sports, politics, culture. My name is Dave.
I'm Dave.
And we are D2, and we're going to talk about another basketball issue. Caitlin Clark has been named AP Female Sports Athlete of the Year.
Yay.
Woohoo! Right? And of course, because of America, because we live in America, there is some type of controversy always.
Yeah.
Right. And let's address a couple things. Okay. Sheila Johnson, the owner of the Washington Mystics of the WNBA, disagrees with Caitlin Clark being singled out as the sole winner of Athlete of the Year. She says that the entire WNBA should be
Women of the Year,
Athlete of the Year,
Athlete of the Year,
Female Athletes of the Year.
Yeah.
Thoughts? Immediate reaction.
It's that award is just for one person. It's not for a whole league of women, or I don't. I think there's some resentment in some ways of Caitlin Clark. I starting to feel that way. At first I thought when she started hitting the league, and there's obviously people on the right, politically or conservatives, are saying, "Oh, she's targeted because she's white."
Right.
She's targeted because look at all these fouls. And people are brutalizing her. And I looked at that and I'm like, no, she's just a rookie who's going to take her bumps and bruises. And it's a competitive sport.
Remember Michael Jordan when he was getting beat up by the Pistons?
Yeah, I think there is a little bit of resentment though, and part of that is like when you say the whole league should be Female Athlete of the Year, you're basically trying to say, you're trying to make a statement in some ways about her. Like you're saying she's not above the league.
Right.
Like you're trying to make it, but you're saying it in such a way that you're not allowing her to get any credit at all.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. It's just my initial reaction to the owner's comments was, that's just fucking dumb.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Like
let's acknowledge when someone has elevated your league status to an entirely different level. Okay, TV viewership is up by almost double, I think. Game attendance whenever Caitlin Clark plays goes up by huge percentages. It's her basketball team alone. When the Fever, Caitlin Clark's team, came to play, they moved to a bigger arena so they could allow all the fans to come in. All right.
And also, that team was, I don't know, I don't follow the WNBA that much, but from what I remember, the Indiana Fever were, the year before she played, they weren't that good, right?
They were dead last. That's why they got the number one.
And then she got on the team, and then they at least made the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think they got fairly far, right?
No, they lost in the first round.
And they were okay. Yeah. My mistake. But it's a big jump to making the playoffs from being dead last.
Yeah, that's a huge jump.
So that she should be recognized for that. She did lift the league up. I think a lot of it is her exciting brand of play. There's probably part of that is possibly her identity, her race, in some ways as well. But I think people don't need to be resentful of that.
Yeah,
I think that's whatever it is, whatever reason, it's lifting the whole league up.
Exactly. It's okay. She definitely, her appeal has broadened the WNBA's appeal as a whole.
Yeah.
Okay. Because it has brought in a big chunk of the American population that never would have followed the WNBA.
Sure.
Period.
Right.
And including us, I think.
Yeah.
Because it's like we didn't really know anything about the WNBA until this year.
I mean, before she came into the league, I I mean, I remember the stories about the WNBA where
Mm-hmm.
like it's just a boring game,
Mm-hmm.
no fans, no one's going to see the games.
Yeah.
It's, ratings are going down. People are trying to lift the league up, but also at the same time, people are shutting down the league. Like, I remember what Brittany Griner was saying, like she couldn't
afford to live.
beat
Yeah.
Kevin Durant or something one-on-one, or so trying to make it sound like the women were just as good. And
right.
I mean, granted, the women in general are not going to be as good as the men. I mean, there's just
the physical difference.
Physically, it's just, it doesn't mean though that the league can't be an exciting league and generate revenue and all that.
Yeah, be competitive.
Yeah. So, but they were, you can see like that they were trying to make that argument just for the sake of trying to make the league relevant. They were fighting to do whatever they could.
Yeah.
And then, she comes along and, league, everything jumps as far as ratings and all that.
No one has seen a woman shoot like her before. Yeah. Okay. It's like when Steph Curry was able to shoot from anywhere on the court, it's kind of the same feeling that we've gotten. We see this complete anomaly hit the league, and it has brought eyeballs to the stage.
No doubt.
And it's for this owner to say, Miss Johnson, to say that, oh, it's unfair and everyone should be represented. It kind of goes against the idea of actually acknowledging greatness.
Yeah.
Because it's like it really should be all about merit, right? Mm-hmm. Especially in sports.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's kind of like to say, oh, she's good, but the other people aren't getting acknowledged. It just seems to go against the idea of sport.
Yeah. Well, I think there were a lot of great WNBA players in the past.
Like Caitlin Clark is not the best player in the league.
Right, right.
But she has brought a level of attention.
I mean, she's getting up there, though. I mean, she's definitely going to be.
She's a top 10 player.
Yeah,
she's a top 10 player.
But yeah,
maybe top 5.
Arguably, she may not be the best right now. I mean, was it Asia Wilson?
Asia Wilson, yeah,
considered the best. But I mean, there's before her, there's been a lot of great women basketball players. But that's just, for whatever reason, she's gotten a lot of press.
Yeah.
And I think WNBA should just go with it and just, she can give some credit to her. Not saying it doesn't mean like all these other players didn't do anything with the league. I don't know why you have to bring that up.
Yeah. Well,
I don't get that. Like, oh, all these other players built the league, or the whole league needs to be recognized. Come on,
it's silly. It's silly.
No one ever did that when on the men's side. Let's say, back in the late 70s, early 80s, the NBA was like just floundering.
Bird should not have gotten those accolades, man.
Bird or Magic would have been like, oh, they don't deserve this.
Yeah. Why not the entire NBA?
Well, I mean, Oscar Robertson, come on. Exactly. Talking about like all these great players, Wilt Chamberlain, and I mean, come on, you got to you can give credit to those players, but then, her time is now, and just let her get credit for being female athlete of the year. What's wrong with that?
She's well deserving.
Yeah.
To politicize this issue even further, so during the interview with Caitlin Clark, I guess, for Women Female Athlete of the Year, she said that she acknowledged that there was a level of white privilege that she was she benefited from.
Sure.
Right. And that apparently created some uproar among the conservative forces in America. Megyn Kelly, one of our favorites, she came out.
One of our favorites?
My favorites. Sorry. She looks all right.
I wasn't evaluating her looks.
That's how I evaluate it.
Okay. I mean, her show is shit.
She's
ever
awful.
Since she got off network TV and tried to get that online show, whatever.
She's so sad and desperate.
She's desperate for anything now.
I mean, more desperate than we are,
yeah.
clearly. But okay, so Megyn Kelly just eviscerated her for being basically a sellout and saying, "Oh, she's apologizing for being white and all this crap," right? Just give it a fucking rest. The hell is wrong with you?
Is she apologizing for being white?
No.
What exactly did she say about her white privilege?
I don't know the exact quotes, but what the message that Caitlin Clark was saying was, look, I appreciate the fact that like I've been able to achieve this level of success on the backs of like all these great black players who came before me. Mm-hmm. And I understand that I have benefited from a certain level of being a white woman in this predominantly black league.
Yeah.
Right. So she was humbly acknowledging the fact that it's kind of almost unfair for her to be achieving this level of attention and success.
Yeah.
Okay. And I thought that was a very noble sentiment, right? Like totally decent, totally.
Do you think she's correct though?
I do.
Yeah.
Because it's like, like all these players before her, there's been great players. They didn't get the same attention,
right?
Of course. But it's just, but at the same time, Clark has been able to do stuff that the other women haven't been able to do.
I mean, I think she's accomplished a lot, and that really, her stats and everything have nothing to do with the race, whether she's white or black.
Right. They speak for themselves.
The only thing is, like, she's gotten press, and she's gotten maybe some other accolades and stuff,
money,
deals, and part of that is for what she's done, but yeah, maybe she's gotten a little bit of press based on the fact that she's white.
Yeah.
But
it's just for this tool like Megyn Kelly to sit there going, oh, she's apologizing for being white, and
I think that she can be she can acknowledge that she's recognized on her achievements, but she can also acknowledge the fact that sometimes she has benefited in some way from being white. I don't think both can't be true.
Right. They're not
mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times, like a lot of these conservative radio or pundits, on the news and their opinions, they tend to think one or the other. Like they don't really have this nuanced idea. Like, oh, maybe it could be like there could be a little bit of both involved.
Yeah.
They're either like trying to make things so simple to kind of like cause a little polarization. And that's my take. I think that she's just saying this to cause a big ruckus so that her ratings on her show can go up.
I think you're right. I think it's just like her like sort of inflammatory comments just reeks of like desperation for attention and just headline grabbing and whatnot.
Right.
Because it stirs up a conversation, and obviously we're talking about it.
Yeah.
And so there's a I guess more of a strategic purpose in what she says, and I get it. Just give it a rest.
There's been a lot of great players, black and white, who did not get as much recognition as Caitlin Clark has done. Yeah. That's just a fact.
Yeah.
And if you want to attribute some of that to her whiteness, I think that's fair. I think that's true. But on the other hand, she's achieved something a lot of players couldn't have done. I mean, she went, she made a big run in the college NCAAs.
Most points in college history.
And then she went on to, just suddenly rip it up in the WNBA. I think
Caitlin Clark totally deserves AP Female Athlete of the Year. not the entire WNBA, and nobody's apologizing for being white or anything like that. It's just like she's just acknowledging.
Honestly, she's brought the WNBA to a new level, almost single-handedly, if they really have to be honest about it.
Yeah. So give respect where it's due.
Yeah.